very warm welcome to our annual GFM video. I'm Ian Potter, the Chief Executive, and it's a considerable pleasure for me to be introducing our capture of the progress that we believe we're making in this a very exciting journey of being the multi-academy trust here in Gosport, wanting to make a real difference to the lives of the young people that we serve, their families and the broader town.
Hello, my name is Ryan Peat and I am Executive Lead for Quality of Education across the GFM. It's been a really interesting year, but the secondary phase has made some really fantastic growth. Being able to work together with our primary and special partners has meant that we've really kind of learned from each other, and that is having a big impact in all of our schools. The curriculum has been a particular area of growth across the secondary phase. Subject teams are really working quite closely together now, both practically in terms of meeting time and also informally, where the colleagues are just catching up with each other to do some planning together and work together. And also with subject leadership working very closely together, the consistency across our teams is really improving. We also have a strong professional learning offer which is able to work with subject teams, work with individuals and work across the whole of our two schools and across the phase to really kind of help people to improve their roles in school.
Hi there, I'm Chris Willis, Executive Trust Lead for Personal Development and Community Endeavour across the GFM. This year has been like no other. We've really had to rely so much on our GFM community, but also our wider Gosport community too. And it's been so encouraging to see how our community partners and our business partners have really galvanised together to help our families and our children and our staff really engage with learning and our curriculum. And that is in support of our community curriculum as we continue to grow the teaching and learning supported by members of our local community. I'm really grateful to those members of the business world and commercial world that have supported with providing Chromebooks, providing laptops, providing financial grants for hardship for our families as we've really channeled through this very difficult period. And actually, this year's been incredibly exciting because we've been able to launch for the first time ever our Gosport Futures. Our 8 skills and qualities that really underpin and support all learners in Gosport to ensure that they go on from a GFM school having the right skills ready to take them into our future labour markets.
I'm Nigel Mathias, Head Teacher at Bay House School in Sixth Form and part of the GFM Secondary Phase Headship team. It's been such an unusual year, but a year in which we can still be very, very proud of the achievements of all of our pupils and students. Although examinations didn't take place in the usual way last summer, the achievements of our students should still be recognised, particularly the individual achievements of those pupils in Year 11 and in the school's Sixth Form. We're also delighted that this year that more pupils from Bryn Park and Bay House schools than ever before have stayed on to study in our very own Sixth Form within the GFM.
Hello, I'm Kirsty Andrew Power. I'm the Head Teacher at Bryn Park School and part of the GFM family. The Bryn Park improvement journey has been a significant part of our project in Gosport. We set up the GFM because we wanted all children in Gosport to have access to an excellent education. And Bryn Park joined the GFM after a pretty turbulent time. The year started well with an Ofsted inspection. Not many people would say that about an Ofsted inspection. It was the first Ofsted inspection for Bryn Park while it had been part of the GFM family. For the first time in 20 years, Bryn Park achieved some good judgments with an overall requires improvement. That was a result of the team effort of the GFM. And the school now has quite strong foundations upon which to build for its next stage of the journey, where we really want the two secondary schools coming together so that all the youngsters that access that provision in Gosport have a superb educational experience. Probably one of the highlights for us across the year, weirdly, was during lockdown. When everything else was so difficult and so challenging, both secondary schools developed a stay connected strategy where every youngster who attended secondary school in the GFM was contacted at least once a week by a member of staff. There were over 9,000 interactions over a 3-week period that were really, really positive, and actually you're seeing the benefit of those relationships in both schools now. So it's been a difficult and challenging year with a few ups and downs for the GFM.
Hi there, my name's Stuart Parker-Tyman. I'm the Executive Head Teacher for the Special and Alternative Provision across the Gosport and Fareham Multi-Academy Trust. I just want to share with you some of the progress that we've seen across our phase and within the Trust recently. We aim to build on the success of the recent offset outcome at LWS Academy, and we are seeing huge improvements within that specialist provision within the Trust. So much so, we've been able to appoint a new head teacher for LWS Academy. At Enterprise Academy, we've seen investment within the provision and the sustainable future for Enterprise Academy comes with the new build that we completed in January 2021. Very, very, very exciting.
Trust continues to invest in the community of Gosport, none more so than our property at Spring Garden Lane, where you will find our new Children and Families team working alongside our crisis provision based at the same site. The new capacity that Spring Garden Lane brings complements the existing support mechanisms within the system. We're working hard to ensure that they're integral to targeting and driving improvements for our most vulnerable and complex needs, families and young people.
I'm Georgina Mulhall and I am the Executive Head for the primary phase of the GFM. I'm the Head Teacher at Goma Junior School and have a responsibility for STEM across the GFM.
Hi, I'm Kerry Payne. I'm the Head Teacher of Randall Junior School and the Executive Trust Lead for Inclusion across the mainstream.
Kerry, I'm sure you'll agree that we've been on quite a journey over the last few years, and I think that a really important part of that journey has been the way in which the primary phase have been collaborating and working together in that way.
Yeah, it's been a real push forward, hasn't it? And especially this year, even more so than previously, we have managed to align in so many ways. A really good example of that might be the 3 I's that we've been working on together.
And I think that's been a really useful tool because it's enabled us also to maintain the individuality of the school and our expertise, whilst enabling us to harmonise and share our resources also.
Definitely.
We're absolutely committed to the best possible outcomes for our learners in our care, and we do that in a variety of ways.
We certainly do. So as well as being head teachers of the 2 primary schools in the phase, we also have cross-mat responsibilities. I lead on inclusion across the mainstream. That encompasses SEND, disadvantage, looked after children, but also those broader issues around inclusion and ensuring that all of our learners have equity and a voice.
And it's been great to see how we've been able to share primary practice and how that's been invested into professional learning across the GFM and how primary and secondary colleagues are working and learning together. And I think that's similar to our STEM endeavours also.
Yes.
It's been wonderful how we've been able to share the primary approach to STEM and engineering habits of mind, seeing that develop in Key Stage 3 with the hope that that will then cascade into Key Stage 4 also.
It's been really valuable having that primary voice, and also being able to work with colleagues across the Trust has in turn improved our practice in the primary phase.
Absolutely, a wealth of opportunity and experience there. We still have lots of work to do,
Just a little.
and I think it's really important we recognise that we're ever moving forward and keen to learn more and to work together more. It would be really wonderful perhaps if we could see more growth in the primary phase.
It is, I think at the moment we are working closely with our colleagues in Key Stage 1 and early years across Gosport, but we would be really keen for that then to be the next stage of our organisation and growth.
Absolutely. I think where we've seen the benefit of collaborating in Key Stage 2, to have that tight, close-knit working with Key Stage 1 and early years would be wonderful to see, or to be able to represent learners throughout their school career.
And that really is the 3 to 19 then offer that we are aspirational to achieve.
Absolutely. Exciting times ahead.
Well, 2020 has been an interesting year for all schools, for the whole of our society in fact, and particularly in this context of this video for the GFM. The start of the academic year 2019-20 was actually very good for the GFM. We had several of our schools inspected, and all of them came out with better inspection reports than when they had last been inspected, which of course is what the GFM is all about, supporting our schools, ensure that they are making improvements all of the time and continually increasing the quality of provision to the young people in Gosport that we serve and their families. And so that was a really good indicator for the impact that we're having in this town. As we all know, 2020 is the year of the pandemic, and so many of our ambitious developments and strategic endeavours for the continued growth of the MAT have been put a little bit on hold because of having to respond to the health and safety requirements, quite rightly, of COVID-19. I am extremely grateful and incredibly impressed by the team that we have here within the GFM in the way in which we and the town and the young people and their families have risen to the challenge of the pandemic. We have accelerated what was already within our developmental plans regarding digital learning, and obviously now we're finding that we are in a good place to be supporting young people who are needing to be having their schooling off-site. And that's of course informing us about how we might take pedagogy and schooling in the future in a way in which we have learned many things from what we've done. That's why there's been the enormous investment in the Chromebook initiative that we've had, and my thanks to the families that have engaged with that, because that is supporting us in our journey to a 21st century learning, in which we are thinking about a redesigning of schooling that is going to probably be more fit for purpose for our young people having their adult lives in this century, rather than a model that was more like a schooling model that's one size fits for all, that was probably more appropriate for a previous century. So lots of learning happening within the GFM, as I like to put it, lots of knowledge being generated in how we can do our job better for the young people that we serve, but also thinking about how the GFM can be a significant agency within this town, within this wonderful coastal area of Gosport, an agency that is supporting families through this difficult time, as well as regenerating our economy and really making a difference beyond the school walls. So the GFM, whilst proud of the direction of travel that all its Ofsted inspections have gone, is about more than just school improvement. It's about the quality of life and learning in Gosport in the future.
Hi everyone. For those of you that don't know, my name's Chris Beswick and I'm the current chair of the GFM. I've actually been involved for the last 3 years with the GFM and have been on the board and working with Ian and the rest of the trustees and the members and the executives to help build and develop education and the GFM since 2017. What I'd first like to do though is reinforce what Ian has mentioned, in that we're incredibly proud of all of our young learners and also all of the staff, all of the members of the GFM and all of the parents and everyone in the community that have helped us cope with what has been unprecedented times this year, helped us cope with COVID. I'm incredibly proud of the work that all of the team have done to get all of our young people back into school, back learning and back focused on their education. My job as chair is to help facilitate better and bolder ways of doing that. And I can assure you that myself and Ian and the rest of the team have some amazing plans for how to increase the level of education, the level of community cohesion across Gosport and across all of the GFM, to aid in our pursuit of building better young people and making them more ready for the world of work. What I'd like to ask over the next few years is, as we start to develop some of those things, I'd like to ask for all of your support. Whether you're a parent, whether you're a carer, whether you're just part of the community, we all need to work together to build that community cohesion and help all of our young people become the best people they can be and help prepare them for that world of work. So if there's anything you think you can do, get in touch with anyone on the GFM, or get in touch with me or Ian, and let's all help shape the future for all the young people that we look after on a daily basis.